reality is we're at war.
The threat from ISIL has intensified.
The threat from terrorism is real.
Do we go after these terrorists in their heartlands, from where they are plotting to kill British people, or do we sit back and wait for them to attack us?
We will destroy ISIL and any other organization that tries to harm us.
We are all discussing here how to fight terrorism, not whether to fight terrorism.
The U.S., Great Britain and 5 other European countries joining together in the fight against ISIS. 1 week after the British Parliament voted to expand British airstrikes into Syria, British Defense Secretary Michael Fallon in Washington to meet with his U.S. counterpart, Secretary of Defense Ash Carter. Secretary Fallon is here to go on the record. Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
And it's always an honor to have one of the Brits here.
Well, it's great to be back in Washington at a particularly dangerous and difficult time now. We've seen the rise of ISIL. We've had our debate in our Parliament, and now we're stepping up to the fight.
Can we beat ISIL?
Yes, we have to. This is a threat to all of us. It's a threat to our way of life. It's not what we're doing. It's who we are. It's a very direct threat. We've seen that in the shootings in Paris. We've seen that at San Bernardino. We've seen that right across the West now. This is a direct threat to our way of life. And we have to deal with it. We have to deal with it in our homelands, but we also have to get after ISIL in its homeland in Syria.
All right. The United States, many Americans are frustrated with the fact that we haven't taken ISIS. We haven't destroyed ISIS yet, or ISIL yet. What do we need to do?
Well, Secretary Kerry said this would take at least 3 years, and that was a year ago when we started taking them on in Iraq. And we're making progress, but very slowly, starting to push them back in Iraq, providing vital airstrikes, training in support of the ground forces, the Iraqi and the Kurdish forces, and they are having some success. ISIL have lost some of the territory they originally gained, but we also have to deal with them in Syria, and that's where Britain is now joining in the fight, doubling the number of strike aircraft we have in the campaign and using our precision munitions to start to attack the infrastructure that supports ISIL. We need to cut off their money, cut off the oil that they rely on for their finance, and really get after the command and control of this terrorist organization.
Well, it was a big vote in the Parliament, now expanding the strikes into Syria. I mean, that's a big deal.
Yes, a couple of years ago, Parliament voted the other way, not to get involved in Syria, not to stop Assad actually bombing his own people using chemical weapons. And we regretted that vote, and it might have saved a lot of lives if we'd got involved 2 years ago. But that said, we started last year, and we agreed to take on ISIL in Iraq, and now we've won the authority of Parliament to take them on in Syria too. And that means we join the Americans, we join the French, the rest of this international coalition, hitting ISIL harder where they hurt most, and that's in their headquarters.
Are you satisfied with the response you're getting from the United States?
Absolutely. The United States has been front and center of this campaign, with many more aircraft and more troops committed to the training programs. And it's a coalition, it's an international coalition, but the United States has been leading it. I'll be reviewing the campaign with Secretary Carter tomorrow to see what more we need to do and whether other countries need to contribute more as well.
Do you anticipate boots on the ground? Because that's a huge discussion here in this country, whether we're going to end up putting combat troops on the ground or not.
It was a big discussion in our debate in our Parliament. There are boots on the ground in Iraq. There are Iraqi forces and Kurdish forces who we can support from the air. There aren't yet the boots on the ground in Syria because they're in the middle of a civil war. But we do now have a political process going on. That's the big change over the last 2 or 3 months, bringing all the Syrian parties together, looking forward to a settlement in Syria that removes Assad and will lead, we hope, to a Syrian army that can be the boots on the ground, finally honing in on ISIL in its homeland.
We always hear about the coalition. I'm curious, how much for instance, how much do you speak to our Secretary of Defense?
Oh, I'm in regular contact.
Is that like once a week, once a day, once a month?
No, it's not once a day, but we're in regular contact. And of course, we meet internationally. We meet in NATO meetings at various conferences, or we're in correspondence. We're constantly reviewing what we do, and I have the same relationship, not with the French Defense Minister and the others. This is an international coalition. The United States leads it. But there are some 20 other countries who are helping militarily against ISIL. ISIL. The campaign is moving into a new phase now. We're stepping up the tempo, and we've learned, sadly, over the last few weeks, that we have to deal with this menace.
How about Saudi Arabia? Are they stepping up enough?
Yes, I reviewed it again yesterday with the Saudi Defense Minister, the Deputy Crown Prince. They're playing their part in the political negotiations. They're hosting the opposition groups in Riyadh next week, trying to bring all these different parties together to plan a future without Assad. And they've also been helping with some of the key logistics beyond that. But of course, they're also fighting their own campaign in Yemen at the same time.
I suppose, I know you know about San Bernardino, and there's been, we have something called a K-1 visa, the fiance visa, where if you're going to come here to get married, you get a special visa to come here, and that's how the wife came here to the United States to join the husband and then do their terror. What's going on with immigration in UK?
I think all of us are looking at our immigration procedures, and let me reassure you that where the British authorities are involved in the visa program, you know, we carry out our checks as well, and I know the American authorities do too. But we're all looking at our different procedures to make sure we understand who is legally in our country, who is properly there, and who has the right to be there. And we're also doing more to stop people leaving our country to go and fight in Syria. We've been taking passports away and trying to keep tabs on them when they come back. Is it more difficult in light of the creation of the European Union? Is it harder for you to sort of get a grip on your immigration? Well, we've had to work hard with our European partners now to share, for example, passenger data. So all the different security agencies, the intelligence agencies across Europe, can properly access flight information, because it is quite easy to move around Europe, and we need to be conscious of that as well. But we're not part of the border arrangement the European Union has. We still have our own borders in the United Kingdom, so it's possible we can crank up our homeland security, just as you're planning to do here. Minister, thank you very much for joining us, and I hope you have a safe trip back, sir. Thank you. Pleasure.